What's good with the YouTube? You already know Big Flacco from a convict's perspective. Now, we don't have Rojo here, but we got Gunners from Gunners Profiles and Gunners Collective. I'm pretty sure you guys already tapped in. If you haven't tapped in, tap into that channel. And we got Big Toko in the building. And you already know what I'm going to do. I'm going to smash, dash, and slide on through with that little bit of energy, man. You know? Anyways, man, we're going to keep this train going, man. And we figured that we get a panel together and we're going to discuss the recent stuff that's developing in the state prison system with everybody being integrated together, non-designated yards. There's already been a couple conflicts in Salinas Valley. There's been another one in Pleasant Valley. There's been numerous incidents. And so I'm going to let Gunner take over for a second because he has a lot more information on this than I do.
Yeah, recently we've heard about all the killings that have happened throughout the state system, man. And I did a video on it on my channel, and you did as well, Flacco, where we're talking about, I think these deaths are an end result to not paranoia. The word for it would be maybe anxiousness. People are anxious, man. They know that they're eventually going to have to go to war. Guerra's happening, man, as we speak. War's on the horizon. You know, it's something that you can't step away from. If you're an active, you will participate. Your politics deem that you will. And then if you're non-active, man, they're putting you in a situation where you have to do what you have to do regardless. So a lot of these deaths are a result of paranoia, of people getting ready, and also of cleaning up house. You know, a lot of autos are cleaning up house, trying to get the last bit of trash they can and get some soldados, you know. And it's happening not only on the active side, but also on the non-active side. You know, people are cleaning house. And that's what happens in prison when things like this are starting to take place. When administration is trying to turn yards over, people want to clean house. They want to keep nothing but solid soldados around them. You know, I've been in that situation.
Yeah. So I'm just thinking, I wonder, the majority of these hits were non-actives, right? On the SNY side, right?
Yeah.
One was an active Sureño, right?
Yeah.
So I totally agree. That's the first thing I thought, man, was that a lot of these groups are trying to set the standard before they even go into the main lines. Before they get this full integration, it's been going on for months, man. I think a lot of them want to set the tone. And I think some of the active groups, like you said, you want to weed out all the trash before all this happens, because once it's get out, you don't have time to remove your own.
No.
You know what I mean? So you got to handle it now. What do you think, Toko?
I think it's going to get a whole lot worse before it gets any better. And you're going to see, I think on both sides, active and non-active, people are going to start falling off. You know what I mean? It's not going to be as easy. I don't want to say as easy, but it's not going to be, you're not going to know where to go, right? You're not going to, the yards that were designated as active, this pin is this pin and that pin is that pin. You're going to see probably all throughout the state of California, all the yards are going to start to flip. You know what I mean? And then that the cross information is probably not always going to be good. You could be, you know, say Solano's all good right now, the 3 and a 4 yard, but you know, in a week or two, it could go, it could flip. You know what I mean? And by the time word gets to everybody, it's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen.
And so I can see administration doing this, guys, right? Say Solano, an established stronghold, right? They send a bunch of bulldogs, they send a bunch of SMY guys there, right? Shit kicks off, right? Boom, homeboys go to the hole. They bring a new bus, same thing. Shit kicks off, more people go to the hole. That's how fast a yard could be lost, just like that.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because, I mean, do you think, right, that there's going to be engagement between the Sureños and Norteños as far as against the inactives? Are they going to click together, you think, or?
I think they have to. I've been talking about on my channel and from people that I've been talking to that are behind the walls, it's not necessarily coming together. It's more of a friend of, you know, an enemy of my, what is it? An enemy of my enemy is a friend?
Yeah.
And so that's pretty much what it's come down to. What it's boiling down to is not necessarily where they're going to band together, but it's basically a have-not situation. It's an active, non-active situation. Whereas these non-actives don't care. If you are active, an active gang member, you pose a threat to them. Whether you're from up north or down south, you're active. So one person's trash is another man's trash as well. Not another man's treasure, another man's trash. So I think it's going to be basically two sides. You know, there's not going to be a whole bunch of split and, oh, you guys get them, we'll handle them. But those are off limits for us. No, I think it's going to be anyone on the SNY yard that has programmed amongst weird people, weirdos, is considered basura throughout the state of California, so they will get moved on. And the SNYers, man, they feel the same way. Anyone that's active, whether you're from up north or south, poses a threat to your safety and security, so they're going to get off too.
Fucking A, man.
So it's definitely going to be.
But I've been hearing rumblings, right? I've been hearing this, bro. They've had certain undercovers, both C's and soldados. Well, not soldados. They're not even using that terminology, but C's and N's, right? That have gone on the fire camps, level 1s, and have also infiltrated these non-designated yards and done business dealings with some of these factions. I've been hearing those rumors, man, that the state's allowing that kind of activity.
Yeah, I'm not sure who's doing what, how they're doing it, but I have heard some things behind the scenes that there are guys that are basically considered UCs, undercovers, and they're trying to establish these yards for one reason or another. And I've also heard that not only business dealings, but also that they're trying to bring people back into the fold that were not necessarily have done certain things, but just were maybe they were, rolled up, quite hastily, or maybe it was a bad call, and maybe they're giving them another chance, some due process, and they just establish numbers.
Are they eliminating the money part, or are they trying to bring them in regardless?
I have no idea. I haven't heard anything about, we all know about the buyback. We've talked about that several times on all our channels. The buyback is real, but I think at a time of war right now, it's a necessity for manpower. You know what I mean?
That's what I've been told as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because it's a 70-30 split, man. It's not a 50-50 like people want to say. It's about 70-30 SNY active. And we're talking about all actives from all different groups. So numbers are scarce right now, and you're going to have a lot of actives fall off during this whole ordeal, a lot, because they don't want to catch life over this. There's a lot of guys that are skating by, man. There's people that are functioning. They're programming, they're politicking, and you know how it is. It's always been like that. Then you got some Norteños or even Southsiders that just want to get in where they fit and play a little handball and do their time. They'll defend the casa if they have to, but they're not really trying to go that route. There's some that they want to be on frontline status. They want to.
Where do they go, though?
What I've been hearing is that they're going to have actual yards, like, say, Mule Creek, CMC West or East, that they're going to have. It's going to go back to the old days, GP and PC. No longer SNY. I think the SNY word is going to be eliminated. I think it's going to be PC and GP, and these PC yards are going to be people that have actual soft shoe type chronos, people that have told, people that are high risk, people that are high priority targets, people that are weird charges. They cannot place these guys with these charges on GP yards. They're going to be the first ones massacred.
So basically, they're going to have to fight for these yards.
Oh, the yards are being fought for as we speak.
Yeah, I know. It's like Jamestown back. I wonder how. But see, back in the days, right? You could be a homeboy and go to Jamestown, right? Or go to one of the high desert yards where they had the Flores, right?
Yeah.
And there would be active Southsiders, active whites, active everything else, but the Northerners would not be active.
That's 50-50
right?
yards.
And everybody stepped away. No, this is before there was 50-50 though.
Okay.
This is like way back in the 90s. There was no 50-50s back then, but they had yards to where they would still send us. You know what I'm saying? And next thing you know, either you're getting told on or you're getting taken off on. So I wonder if that's going to occur again and how these other groups are going to react. Or like the Southsiders, see if they have an established yard, but the Northerners are all bad on that yard, right?
Yeah.
Are the Southsiders going to embrace these new guys that are part of these SNY groups? Or are they going to take off on them? Like say a Northern Rider comes, touches down a yard. Are the Southsiders going to let the Northern Riders rock that yard?
I highly doubt it. Like I said, man, I think it comes down to a line in the sand where it's everyone that's active is good and everyone who isn't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what I think it's coming down to. I don't think it's coming down to pick and choose. You guys deal with your own people, your dropouts or your degenerates, and we'll deal with ours. It's not like that. I think it's coming down to they're trying to flip the state of California to make everyone. It's a reset. They're pressing a reset button. That's what administration's doing. They're pressing a reset button. And they're saying, okay, because this is why. This is the reasoning behind it. Their reasoning. Now, we know the reasoning behind it. If anyone that's been locked up knows, they're just trying to slam these guys that hold status and people that are somebody back in the shoe. That's what this is all about. They've taken it personal because these guys beat them in a lawsuit. So they're trying to find any way to justify giving them indeterminates and slamming them back there, right? Because they want them to lose control. So what they're doing is they're placing all these guys together on these non-designated yards. That's what they're calling them for two reasons. First, to slam them back, right? And number two is because these SNY yards have gotten out of control with all these dropout gangs that they're formulating. You got a whole bunch of guys. When SNY was created, it was created for people to go, to have a safe haven, and to program. But they're not programming. They're over there extorting people, getting into melees and gang fights amongst each other. So they say, and a lot of these are saying, we are active. Like, you got guys that say, we're active Northern Riders, or we're active this, or we're active that. So they're saying, okay, you guys want the label? You're going to fight for that label. we're going to put you on general population. So really the ones who are catching the ass end of this stick are the actives when it's all said and done, because they're shorter in numbers and they're being placed with people they know that they have to take flight on.
Yeah.
You guys think though that CDC is so pissed off from that lawsuit, like Gunnar was talking about, that they're just gonna say fuck it, fuck the chronos, the keepaways? Because you got to remember, a lot of these dudes that are on the inactive side, right? They either, Flacco and I were talking about that earlier. They either got pushed out, they got thrown out, or whatever route that they went. So now there's enemy lists. Are they just gonna say, hey, like Gunnar said, is it just gonna be a complete reset? And hey, you fuck it, we're gonna put everybody out there, and it's gonna be like, there he is right there. All these keepaways from these groups and stuff like that. If it goes that way, then you're gonna see who, you know what I mean? You're gonna see who's gonna get off where they're mad at. People are either gonna be like fucking running for the gate and hey, I can't be here, or they're just gonna be like, all right, you know what? Here's the payback, and it's just gonna go nuts.
It's key points right there. Key points right there that you made. One, you're going to see a lot of cowards, man, that have been hiding under that bandana and hiding in the shadows. They ain't put no work in. You're going to see a lot of that, right? Two, some of these guys that are on the inactive side, right, SNY side, like you said, some people got pushed out for the wrong reasons, man. There's a lot of animosity. There's a lot of hate, how they treated them. There's a lot of dudes that turned their back politically because they didn't want to get involved. Now these guys are in a position to go out there to these yards with other people who have the same like-minded to go out there and handle their business too. Let's not forget, these dudes were a part of us. You know what I'm saying? Well, I'm not like I'm acting. Hold on, let me take that back. I'm not. They were a part of what we used to be part of. You know what I mean? So I've heard of homeboys that have had issues because of what was done wrong to them and so forth, man. And this is like a way for them to get retribution. You're on a yard. Not too many people are going to get a chance to get off. Gunnar got a chance to get off. You know what I mean? They were trying to hit him. He was calling them on their shit. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not against actives or inactives. I could never push an SNY movement. It's not that I have any issues with them. That's their thing. But I think it's gonna crack off, man. I think this is administration's whole purpose is that they have two problems. Let's kill them with one stone. We got the SNY gangs that are causing all these disturbances, man. Fuck them. Let's throw them out there. They want to be badasses. Let's see how they react. And you got these actives that got out the shoe that took away a lot of their funding, caused a whole lot of rift. I mean, think about it. The California Peace Officers Association is the strongest union that there is in California. And some inmates, some convicts, those that they feel that they're superior over, beat them in court.
Yeah.
You know there's a lot of egos involved in that.
Here's something nobody's touching on. Here's something no one has elaborated on, no one has put a video on yet. And I was saving it for the in the treasure chest, but I'm going to speak on it. These guys have known that this was going to be implemented way before us. We've been knowing now for months, even prior to everyone that's out here watching right now. They're hearing about it maybe for the first time or just the past few weeks. But we've known about this and seen it growing for the past few months just because we have contact, right? But even prior to us knowing about it, a lot of these guys who are some buddies in there have known about this being implemented. You know, they got context that we don't got. And so that's why there's already been establishment on these SNY yards of undercovers or people that are still in good standing setting up shop. Why? Because what I think they're trying to do is recruit soldados, manpower, pick and choose who's worthy, who's fucking the hitters, who's the guys that are really about it on these yards, and bring them back into the fold and give them some type of sense of unfulfillment within the cause and bring them back in. That's less of a threat to worry about because there's some guys on the SNY yards that are true hitters. They're well known.
Yeah, bro.
Take Snoop, for instance. You know, people can say what they want. He's a J-Cat or whatever, but at the end of the day, you know as well as I know, having known him, that if you run up on him, he's going to put something in you if he has it. You know what I mean? Without hesitation or hands on you. So there's a lot of individuals like that. I can name a few. And so you would think if I go say I'm there, I'm active, and they put me, hey, bam, I get to a yard and the homeboys are telling me you're still righteous, it's good, set up shop. First thing I'm going to do is find out who posed the most threats, you know what I mean, to the gente, and I'm going to start trying to bring them back into the fold. Of course, if they're not fucking people that are just, I mean, there's nothing you can do with them. They went through the water.
Let me ask you something. Speaking for just the northerner side, right? Should the NF do a reset?
Well, with what's going on with them at this point in time, man, I mean, they would have to all be on the same page for something like that. You know what I mean?
You know what I mean? I'm just wondering.
Doesn't look like right now,
with the northerners, like, you know, they had the reentry program back before.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, could they ever offer that opportunity to all the riders, that all these other cats that maybe thought politically and said, hey, we'll look at each case equally. We're tired of all the bullshit. Let's get this shit going the right way. We were all once a part of the same thing. You ever think that could occur?
I think it could occur, but what's going to occur first is war before all that gets panned out. And the reason why is incommunicado. There's not a lot of people that are going to be in communication. The way administration is doing is they're taking a busload of 10 and putting them over here. No one can communicate. So before that can all get settled in, there's going to be people that, I mean, if we're active, all us three, we're active, we're on the yard, and 10 fucking SNY people come in, we're flighting immediately. Next line movement, right? We're getting off, or we're getting off the first time we have access at them, R&R, whatever it is, we're getting off, right? And then it could be over here in this place. Hey, we're not doing that over here. Every yard is different. You know, every yard is different. Until they can really have a foundation set where they're in communication and everyone's on the same page, it's going to keep going off and off until they finally figure out what they're going to do.
See, before all this occurred, right, I was told from someone I know really, really well, man. He was a good brother, man. He's in Soledad. And he told me that they were bringing busloads of active cats, and a couple people he knew, like, they came off the bus. Mm-hmm. He said that, you know, he kind of confronted them, like, what was cracking, like, in a respectful manner. And what he was told was those that were entering these yards were being given directives that they were in contact, of course. They have an established code and so forth. They were to wait for reinforcements to come, evaluate the yard, see who's who. As long as they didn't have no extreme paperwork charges or any type of, deviant charges, they could probably coexist. Now, to what extent was that to try to pull them back into the fold? Now, I checked in with that was someone, right, and they confirmed it. Yeah, they're told to wait now when they go out to those yards. Now, I don't know how that's going to play up into level 3s and level 4s because the environment's totally different. But I think it's the one thing that they did say was any of those SNY group gangs
gotta go.
They gotta go. But as far as everybody else that doesn't believe in that, and just maybe got crossed up politically, maybe made a choice when they were scared or young, or everybody has different scenarios why they end up on an SNY yard. Not everyone's the same. I think I did a video on that. So
you don't think they're gonna have the time though to do the cross reference to make sure, because anybody could say, hey homie, I'm not with the riders. I'm just, you know what I mean? I'm just part of the Sanjo car or the Merced car. I'm just me, you know, infiltrating. Or you don't think because they're going to need the numbers, if it gets that bad, they're not going to do the proper R&I, right? To make sure that this dude's not part of one of those SMYs, that he's just a homeboy that fell off, you know what I mean? Or a Southsider that fell off. You think they're going to do that, those groups?
But see, I think the key to this is this right here. The SNY, there's more SNYs, right?
Yeah.
But there's not more SNY gang members. So you have the SNY gang members and you have the NF Norteños, Sudanos, MA, whatever, right?
Yeah.
You got the people that are in between that don't align to anything. Like they don't align with the Flores. They don't align with the Bulldogs or with the 2-5ers and all that.
They're just righteous DOs.
Where are they going to land in all this? They have to land in somewhere in this. Are they going to align with the SNY side, or are they going to align with the active side, or are they going to stay neutral?
I think the pendulum is going to swing either way, don't you think?
Yeah,
I
exactly.
mean, you know, like you guys are saying, if they're already putting it out there that, hey, you know what, as long as they're not part of, they can get back in with us, depending upon what that is, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What if these dudes got, you know, some weirdo charges, or what if, you know, like I said, is it going to come down to, okay, well, this dude's got this charge, this dude testified, this dude just got booked over a debt. You know what I mean? Are they going to be able to take the time to freeze these guys like it was back in the right? You know what I mean? Or is it just going to be that, hey, maybe me and Gunner, hey man, this dude, we were there when this happened. He was removed, but it was foul. Blah 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 blah. Let him out. You know what I mean? Is it going to come down to favoritism again?
This is my thing. Like you said, Flacco. Okay, they're being given a directive to not get off. Okay. Well, the SNYs ain't being given that directive. You know what I mean? Let me tell you, man, they're not going to wait, bro. A lot of these guys if they think you pose a threat, they're just like anyone else, man. They're having juntas. They're organized over there. A lot of these SNY gangs are very well organized. You see all the killings that they're doing. They're killing people, right? So this guy might get there and say, hey, we're being told to are directed to just wait and we'll see what happens. You think they're going to just take that, or we'll see what happens? No, you guys are going to see what happens on the next yard. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. It's so much variables and so much different elements to this. The only way to figure it out at the end because everybody is prepared. Everybody has the preparation. Everyone is to just watch.
There's going to be a lot of people that are going to take the easy way out. They're going to hit that yard. They're going to take flight on spot instead of trying to go out there and find. You know what I mean?
R&R, right from R&R. Why not?
You're not supposed to do that, but there's going to be people doing that. Trust me.
You're supposed to go out there, identify a target, gather as much information as you can, wait to the 71st hour and take flight. You know what I mean? But a lot of people are not. You know, I was at the point one time where I was going to hit the yard in Jamestown, but then I spotted a very, very fucking highly controversial figure right there in R&R. So I was able to get off right there. And that was Jack Flores, shorty from Delano. But I only remembered because I had written in the B&Ls, it said in Tracy, fucking, he was wanted in the highest degree. Once I identified him as being that one, I flighted. But I'm saying, I really wasn't supposed to. I was really supposed to hit the yard and see what was going on. But see, nowadays the actors won't let you hit because see, back then on the 50-50 yard, right when you got there, the homeboys approach you. Hey, what's up, bro? You active? What's up with it? They had a free ticket to get off on you from administration. The COs on that yard would let the non-actives get off on the actives.
Crazy.
Straight up. They wouldn't even get a 115.
They're doing that on some of these in Norco as well.
Just to keep that yard running.
Just to keep that yard facilitating and doing this thing. Yeah. So they basically told them, look, you guys deal with your problems. You won't even get a 115. This guy would get stomped out by 4 non-actives and they give him the write-up and take him to the hole. You know what I mean? So they could ship him out. But see, now it's different. Now they're not getting that pass anymore. Now it's just like, man, they're frustrated. They're tired. They have an agenda. They're like, just everyone's going to go. What's going to happen though? Say the non-actives get off. Say the non-actives get off on the actives or vice versa. They get placed in the oil. Do they just keep going back out to yards and it's just a repeat cycle, or what's going to happen? Shoes are going to be filled up, right?
Yeah. Well, see, regardless, it seems like in the penal system, right? Say if they totally separate everybody, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you don't get along with this group, we're going to put you over here. Eventually, all you're going to do is turn on your own.
Well,
that's the only thing that's going to happen. I think
it's going to split all this up, and then probably within the next couple of years, they're going to see, you know, like certain yards are going to have more than the other. You know, like A, B, C, D. Like Corcoran is probably going to be all the yards that they got over there. You know that the shoes going to get filled up. Then imagine what those shoes are going to be like. What are they going to do? The actives and the non-actives that are going to get shoe terms, man. What are you going to do? Every other cell, or are you going to be able to divide them in the blocks? And I mean, it's really going to be, I'm just glad I'm not going to be a part of that.
For the Norteño Collective, But for the Norteño Collective, we were already outnumbered as it was. Period. You know what I'm saying? Everywhere I went, like anytime I hit a shoe, we may be only like 3 homeboys in the whole shoe block.
See, a lot of it depends, Flaco, on all right, if they send 10 Norteños to a non-active yard, of course it's not going to be pretty. If they send 10 Southsiders, but what happens when what I'm saying is numbers. What if they send 20 or 30 active Sureños or active Southsiders, and active Norteños together? Are they going to rock together? See, there's so many variables, so many different things they could do. What if they send a whole busload of SNYers, but none of them are part of these SNY gangs? Are the guys going to get off on them immediately, or they're just going to judge them based on they're coming from an SNY yard? These guys are not going to wait. They're not going to sit there and they don't got time to ask everyone, what are your charges? What are you in for? Who do you affiliate with? They're just going to flight just based on they know what yard. They're going to be like, what yard you come from? I came from Pleasant Valley. Flight. You know what I mean? That's it.
So they're trying. So what they're trying to do, correct me if I'm wrong, it's not just about the SNY gangs why they're flipping this over. Is that they just want to get rid of SNY, period.
They want to reset.
They just want to
intermingle this trade, right?
People that got certain charges, high profile, they're not going to separate them no more. And the DOs. So it affects all of them, right?
Yeah.
And not just the SNY gangs, not just the non-actives, the keepaways. So it's going to be weirdo charges, high profile Hollywood actors, you know what I mean? High profile cases about, killing kids, and all that, and all that other stuff, right? All the stuff we see now, they're subject to that. They're not going to get any preferential treatment. And, you know what I mean? So it's going to be,
and then
I personally think it's going to be a bloodbath.
Then you got to factor in, there's a third element to this, Toko. See, we're just speaking on non-actives, active. Now there's a third element to this. There's also the Bulldogs, as well as the Nueva Flor, who are considered active gangs still that don't rock with either side.
That puts them in a bad spot.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
There's now three sides. People keep forgetting there's bulldogs that don't rock with active nor non-active. They're not. They look at SNY as trash, and they look at active as trash, right? So they're in an island, and then you got the Nueva Flor, who supposedly they've been rocking together in certain yards. They just got off together in Salinas Valley. There's so many different variables. This is what's going to happen. This is what I think from my perspective only. I think that they're going to try this. There's going to be some serious deaths that come out of this, and they're going to nip that in the bud, and they're going to be like, you know what? We tried. Let's just go back to what we were doing before. Previously scheduled program, because it's not going to work. It's definitely not going to work.
I'm looking at everything from like I said, I've already heard that they've done away with the ensoldados in the state. You know what I'm saying? There's just those that are more seasoned than others and so forth, man. And I've had people confirm that. They're allowing them to sit there and, you know what I'm saying, use drugs and so forth, like as opposed to when we were in the system, you couldn't use drugs. So basically, they've gone back to basically almost a system like how it was pre-97.
In the state.
Right? Mm-hmm. So that's when you could pretty much independently
the feds are still honoring the feds are still honoring the bros and ensoldados, right?
Yes. The feds are doing a little different. The feds, there's actually different layers to it. There's Ensol business, there's C business, and there's Northern business. You know what I mean? Whereas before, when they did the change, a lot of Northerners were being involved in a little bit of Ensoldado business. So if they're going to do away with that and not have all these rigorous expectations, just basic security, then there's a lot of people could be brought back into the fold, to be honest with you, bro.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely.
Let me ask you guys something. How would you feel if you were still active and you were in the system and you were going through this?
Go ahead, Gunner.
I'm telling you this, I wouldn't be having it nothing hooped. It'd be in my hand at all times. I'd be fully prepared to know that I was probably going to do life. If I was active, I mean, basically the way it's going right now, man, I would just go with the flow, but I'd be anticipating a lot of hold time, and I'd be anticipating, a lot of scraping going on both sides, because I'm not a fool to think that we're just as being active. That one word carries some type of weight where you're just going to win them all. You know what I mean? I know there's plenty of villains on either side, so I'd be concerned. Scared? No. Prison is prison. You know what can come? I mean, it could come from the most unlikely source, right? But but I'd be very aware. I'd be very aware of not only the people on the other side, but also my own people, to try to weed out exactly what this agenda is. Because if you're just a regular norteño and you're not really getting told, see business, or I know there's no ensoldados, but there's still those that are in certain circles. You know what I mean? Favoritism. Mm-hmm. If I'm not being involved in their business, bro, I think everyone should know when it comes to your life what's going on here. You know what I mean? Everyone should be on that same page. That way we can move as one unit. So I'd be very concerned and very aware. And that's it. That's all you can do.
So Toko, I'll answer right after you, Toko.
I don't guess I know. If I was doing the time right now, I'd have to take into account everything going on between the state and the feds.
Yeah.
That problem, and finding out who's who and what's what, and then having to figure out where you stand and all that. And then they throw this on you a few months later, after the big indictment and everything else. I'm talking about if I was still in the game, if I was still, functioning, and then having to deal, obviously if I was in the feds, I wouldn't have to worry about any of this. Mm-mm. You know what I mean? Yeah. But now as a bro, a former bro, or if I was still an active bro, having that stripped, dealing with that. Now you're just a norteño that's involved. I don't know. I guess they're bringing norteños into the fold if they're getting rid of the ensoldados, right? In the state, and then having to deal now with this, having to pick and plan with that, and I'll piggyback off of what Gunner said. You know what I mean? Piece after piece. You know what I mean? I keep one right there and keep one in the chamber, because you don't know. You know what I mean? If you're going to be on that next bus, you know what I mean? Or whatever's going to happen. And like you said, I'd have to take into account and accept that I could get set up, I could take off, you know what I mean? And that everybody around me, I got to really see, if we get on a bus together, am I going to be left hanging? You know what I mean? And just accept the fact that I'm going to take my lumps. I'm probably going to get hit, probably going to get bumped and scraped, and maybe even stabbed, but that's just going to be because and get into acceptance that this is going to be a new birth, a new beginning, taking over yards again and doing all that stuff like we used to hear about in the 70s and 80s and even in some of the 90s when High Desert opened up and all the BS that was going on there. Now you got everything coming at you, and nobody seems, in my opinion, like they got nothing to lose no more. Especially if you're an active Norteño, speaking from our side or our former side, what do you got to lose? With all the politics that are up in the air right now, everything, these new rules implemented, status is being taken and doing away with certain things. Now you got to deal with this. That's why I said earlier, I think the pendulum is going to swing, and we're, the Perros and the Nueva Flores, I'm not endorsing any of that, but to someone who's active, that might start looking attractive to what their plight is and what they're doing. You know what I mean? To some people, and you're going to see, it's just hard to say, but that's where my mind would be at, man, is just like, keep your head on swivel, get into acceptance that you may win some and lose some, and you're going to poke some holes and get some holes.
Yeah, okay. It's not to go into any current affairs with the VO, right? But it kind of has to be brought up when it comes to me addressing this type of topic. That state Fed issue has been really pushed on both sides, more so in the state. And what I hear commonly from the guys in the state is the state guys are cool. We let you guys do what you guys want. This, that, like it's a whole different agenda as opposed to the old federal system where it was more rigorous command, more strict discipline, more conditioning, and so forth. They're running their operations on these yards, right, as far as the big homies. And they're allowing these people to be a part of it if they want, but they're allowing them to be a little bit more looser in their actions as opposed to a little bit more privileges, a little bit more of this and that. The things that we could never do before, the individuals in the state, right? Not trying to go into that, but this is just facts. Because I've heard it out their mouth. Us state guys are cool. You mean? Well, you guys can do that over here. You can't do that with the Fed side.
But so that's propaganda, because I'm gonna tell you this, and I'm not saying that. Yeah, it's a fact, but it's a way to feed propaganda to the people.
Yep.
The Norteño struggle was founded on struggling, right?
Exactly.
Hardship.
Yep.
This is what makes us the soldados that we were or are, right?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of hardship, minimal in numbers, a lot of struggle, a lot of strife. This is why the Norteño group, the Norteño cause, and the Norteño car is feared in prison behind those walls, because they know that the Norteño is willing to go to the end, right? When you start getting loose and you start allowing certain things to happen, people will start getting loose, start to get comfortable with that, and they're going to start telling more, because they don't want to lose that. They don't want to lose that sense of being able to get canteen and yard and packages. Whereas the Norteño, the solid Norteño knows you're probably not going to get canteen. You're probably not going to get a package this quarter. That's probably not going to come, but you're willing to take the hardship. You're willing to take it. That's what being a Norteño was. In the end, you could look yourself in the mirror and say, you know what, we did that. The human side says, yeah, fuck, I want to get high. I want to kick it, man. I want to have a good time. But prison ain't a place to get high and kick it. Prison is a place to stay aware and to establish for the safety and security of the people. So I'm not going to say one way or the other which way I lean, because that's not for here. But I will say that the way I was taught was that the struggle was going to be real. So now it seems like it's just getting a little bit more lax. And in times like this, in guerra, in times of war, if you got guys high, you know that they can't do shit for you. You know what I mean?
Which side feels that their cause is more worthy is what it's going to come down to as well.
Well, I guess that's just something that's been going on for years now, man, that still hasn't panned out. At the end, man, the way I feel is I'm one for the old values that were instilled. You know, you can only go by what you were taught. I mean, it sounds good. That's the old saying. It sounds good, but is it really, really good at the end, man? To have a whole bunch of tecatos and you know, we have a lot of rules and regulations when we were active, and one of them was, that we couldn't get high, we couldn't do something. So what are we doing? Selling to our own people, getting our own people.
They're all getting high though now. All of them.
Yeah,
all of them getting high. Not everyone is leadership, man. That's the truth.
And what was our thing? Remember, and you remember this when we were active. That was one of the reasons why we thought the Southsiders didn't pose a threat to us, because we were like, they're all getting high, they're all indulging. So
Bond number 8, bro. Bond number 8 says it all, bro. That as far as the Norteño movement, bond number 8, bro. That's why you're not supposed to go. That's why you don't touch psych meds. None of that.
That's the whole reason for me being on the side that I'm on, is because I felt so wholeheartedly against that put me in the predicament I was in, because I went against the grain. Obviously, the grain there was, you know what I mean, we're going to get high. And this was when it was not implemented. This was when, before the state fed stuff. This is when it wasn't supposed to be happening. And I felt so wholeheartedly about that. And in the end, I lost, you know what I mean? Because I couldn't go against the people. And I was forced to do what I had to do. So now to say that they can't get high, I feel like, damn, it was for nothing. Everything I did was for naught. You know what I mean? I was right. And but it is what it is. But yeah, I don't think it's just a way to say, hey, look, we're cool. We'll let you guys do this, you do that. It's like a car salesman to me. That's what it sounds like. Our car's prettier over here.
In the feds, right? Every Saturday they have Unity Day amongst all the gente. They have spreads and so forth. They're not using, you know what I mean?
That's right.
I think it's very, very rare that they're able to use alcohol, if not at all. They're having Unity Day. They're assisting this and that. Everybody feels more. They're more than happy to contribute. Stateside, man, it's like fucking every man for himself, but make sure you get the dough from us. You know what I mean? Don't freelance.
At the end of the day, like, we're not there on that yard to see exactly what's going on. I do talk to a homeboy that previously just paroled a few weeks back or a few months back, man, from being an active, you know what I mean, very high-ranking member.
Yeah.
And he's told me a lot of the same stories. But I guess we got to see it to believe it.
That's
right?
true too, though.
You got to see it to believe. Everything is based on individualism. Everything is based on a man. You could have a guy that's on a yard that still goes by the old ways, and just because he's in the state, he's going to run his yard how he runs it. Whereas another C on another yard is going to run it. He might be a little bit more lax, you know, not as seasoned as the other one. He's going to run it how he runs it. Everything is individualized when it comes to a yard. Every yard is different. Just like what's going on right now. Every yard is going to be different. You might get to where they're like, you know what? Hey, you guys stay on that side of the yard. We stay on this side of the yard. We're going to do it like that. Then you might get to another yard. And even though directives are flying, people are not going to have the time to receive those directives if fucking war's happening. It's a ugly situation. There's so many different variables. That's why I say it's something that's going to play out. We're going to have to watch from a distance. And we haven't even taken into account right now what happens with the active Southsiders. How are they feeling in all this? We're just talking about the northern perspective of it. What about they're the most dominant in numbers when it comes to any group. How are they feeling in this situation? What directives did they have from their
big homies are shrewd though, bro. Their big homies, like, they calculate things in a different way, bro. You know what I mean? A little bit different. You know?
I think another big question too is, I think all the way across the board, who's questioning their cause now?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If all this is going to be worth, you know, the guerra and all the fighting and having to go through all the rigmarole again, you know, those probably doing it quietly. But I can almost guarantee that there's a lot of people scratching their heads like, okay, you know what I mean? What's going to happen? You know, and is this what I want to do? You know, because that unknown, I know a lot of guys that I've talked to, they think about that. It's like, okay, we do, then what? You know, we get here and then what? And like Gunnar said, piggybacking off of that, if every yard, whoever has the keys to it, runs it different, imagine how much different now. You know, well, back then it was an institution, right? It was whoever was in charge, those yards, that's the way it was. Now it's probably going to go to, you go to an institution that's got 4 yard to yard. Flacco could be on A, I could be on B, and Gunnar could be on C, and we all have the same plight, but who's ever in charge, the rules are different.
Yeah, I know. That's why I wonder, see, they don't have, see, that's the thing, that's the trick now. Every yard's that's actively with Northerners is going to have a guard out there. Every yard. So you do not need certain bylaws no more because the higher authority is right there in front of you.
Yeah, he's going to establish it the way he wants to establish it.
He's going to establish the bonds were only supposed to be imposed in lieu of a NF member not being there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The bonds are going to become irrelevant.
That was the purpose.
You know the bonds will become irrelevant because you have the walking bonds right there in front of you.
I mean, they'll still probably teach them for the county jails if there's no C's and so forth. Okay, look, you know, this is what you do, but technically on a main line, your higher authority is always going to be a C period, and that's all you have to answer to. If you say you can do this and that,
how's it going to go with no soldados to run the jails? Are just going to use seasoned norteños?
So is that what I mean? Is it, you know, NF business? So if they're getting rid of the NSOLs, are they making the norteños part of the collective now?
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Well,
I mean, you know, or are they just going to keep them on?
What I was told was what it is that there's some Norteños that are more educated than others. You know what I'm saying? If you're striving, you're going to strive. You're going to put in that work and effort and so forth, man. But I think it was more about saying. You know what I'm saying? I think that if you really think about it, they come out from the shoe. They're no longer validated. What purpose do you really need an soldado on these main lines? If you're going to treat everybody equal.
Well, they were always they were the educators. They were to educate the people in the lucha. But look, this is what I'm saying is like take it from a not prison but county jail. Say you got someone there. He's been there 4 years fighting a case. He's a seasoned Norteño. He's doing his thing. He's got all the homeboys not under him, but he's lacing them up with whatever they need to be laced up with. And then another vato comes who's even more seasoned than him. Does he automatically relinquish the county to him?
That's going to work right here. This is 100% fact. For the Constitution, the street Constitution, the county jails are ran by the street regiment commander out there in the streets. So he's supposed to put in charge the individual he wants to run that county jail.
Yeah, but what if there's no RC?
Well, it's like saying, okay, without putting any business, I'm not going to put the person's name out there, right? Santa Rita Jail. The dude that runs the East Bay Regiment in Santa Rita Jail is actually in Solano. That's how that shit works like that. That's how they're going to operate that. So they're going to put someone in charge, you know what I'm saying, to take care of that jail for the RC. If there's anybody that's not there, then I don't know. That's kind of a, the only area that's still using the term soldados is Salinas, Monterey County.
Yeah, they're always going to do what they do. You know what I mean? That's just Monterey County. They're always different. You know that.
Oh, I mean,
they're always different. They're always going to be different, but that's just in a respectful way. They're going to be different because they're the end of the rainbow when it's all said and done. But yeah, it's just and then we're talking. So you got the Southsiders, they got their thing going on with all this. You got the Norteños. It's in disarray a little bit as far as which route they can go. I'm sure that they're well aware of what's going on and they're well established and they got a plan. Believe me, they always have a plan. But then you also got the Africanos, you got the whites. How are they feeling towards their degenerates? How are they feeling towards their people that flip? Who are they going to rock with? How's it going to go down? I know there's an end to hostilities, and that was probably a blessing in disguise that there was an end to hostilities, because imagine if there was no end to hostilities and they were doing this.
They're like this. They're like, oh, here comes powder.
No, do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's getting. There's a lot of guys. I've seen the BNLs. There's a lot of guys wanted in the highest degree. There's a lot of guys that are wanted just a little bit more than others. With the extra asterisk next to their name for personal reasons or whatever, so on and so forth. So I'm just saying.
Now it's going to be an active in the flesh BNLs.
Yeah,
those BNLs are going to come to life.
Well,
and they're going to come to a yard near you. Then
if I was like say the Africanos, I would just step on back, let them all go at it.
Let the SAs do their thing. That's what I would
do their things, because we're going to benefit from this. Because when they're all on lockdown, who's they going to come to?
They're going to get paper.
They're going to get their paper.
Yeah, in my opinion, I think more likely that's going to happen with. They're just gonna. They're not going to get involved, and there's not going to be that policy like Flacco said back in the day in Corcoran, where, hey, if we see one of our own or someone who's not good from either or, the door's cracked, we'll get them. I think it's just going to be, no one's going to want that responsibility now. And
they were the only ones that didn't agree with that, though. They weren't on that agreement.
Oh, the Africano brothers, they're going to do they're going to do. SA business is SA business. I can tell you. Now, if there's someone in their group, man, that really done told on someone in high ranking or did something like that, they're going to deal with them. By no means am I saying that they won't handle business. The brothers will handle their business. The others, where do they fall into this? You know what I mean? Are they just going to the others, the paisas, they're going to rock with the Southsiders. There's just so many different variables to this. What's going to happen? Are they going to start off? Because we're only talking from the northern aspect. Are they just throwing Norteños? But they can send a busload with three SNY Norteños, 2 SNY Southsiders, a bulldog, 2 blacks, and a white on a yard. It's just too much chaos.
5 years from now, we're going to be on YouTube talking about, man, we're doing a video, man, what's a Norteño?
My thing is, could you see the Norteños as a hint that's saying, you know what? We're done. We're just going to step away and be our own thing like the dogs.
I think they should.
It might be that time. I'm not going to promote that, but I'm saying
I'm not promoting it either, man. But I mean, it's only a select handful that want to dictate everything. I mean, they got to walk the yard with 9-man details and 4-man details. Why the fuck do I got to protect you, or man, just like fucking me? I mean, sorry for getting a little bit out there, but that's just my personal opinion, man. Like,
who's to say it hasn't been thought about or been kicked around already with
yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean,
the thing is,
like I said, it's like the Nueva Flores and the BDs. How much more attractive now since they were told to be against the grain, how much more attractive now are people going to stop and think, fuck, these vatos are onto something. It makes sense. Now we see why, you know,
Yeah.
and I'm like I said, I'm not endorsing either or, man. I got no horse in this race. This is just strictly a panel's opinion, but I just think, you know, these dudes on either side, man, they're not stupid and they're surviving for a reason because they got something up here.
Well, yeah.
So, like I said, you can better believe they're not kicking around like looking at studying the plight in their enemy like, fuck, man, these vatos been able to do whatever they want. Maybe they're onto something here. Now, now we're seeing with everything that's going on. Now we're seeing why they do what they do, or
Well,
why they're, you know, and
exactly.
is that better?
Even more so
is that
now.
more attractive?
It became an oppressed voice, though. You get what I'm saying? An oppressed voice, basically. You can't say nothing. You can't go against anybody.
The very
You have no
thing
opinion. You
during
have
all
none
of
of
our
that.
the very thing during all of our indoctrinations is why we became hermanos or C's, you know, whatever we know. I mean, whoever's here is for that reason, the oppression of our people. You know what I
Exactly.
mean?
But
And like
now,
Gunnar said,
I mean,
everything sounded good. Like, look, everything's 2020 in hindsight, right? Everything
Yeah.
we were taught and everything I believed in, I still hold those values to. But
yeah.
you know, once you climb that ladder, like we all did, and you start to see, look at Gunner's situation.
You can see
Look
it
at your
more from up
situation.
high.
Yeah, you
Look
can.
at my situation. Look how easy it was to throw. And I get it, man. You know, it's part of doing business, and I don't have any animosity or whatever. If I had to do it all over again, I'd do the same thing because that's what the cause was to me
Yeah.
during the indoctrination process, is why I did the things that I did. I didn't want it to play out that way, but hey, such is life. Here we are now talking about it. And I feel bad for all sides that are involved because programs are going to get uprooted. There's dudes that are trying to change it. What about the lifers getting ready to get out or trying to get out?
Man.
They're sucked into all this shit now too. All these old Armeros and, you know what I mean, and NF guys, AB guys, BG, you know, whatever. They're all going to get thrown into the fold, whether they like it or not. And their programs are going to get messed off. And it's going to be, if it's going to be a complete restart, like we all agree it's going to be, then they're just going to be casualties of that war, and it's going to have to get sifted out. And what if they have to do what they have to do? You're talking about guys that probably haven't got out for years, but they don't forget, you know. And if somebody gets killed, you know, there they go again. How are they going to handle all that? Is CDC so stubborn and stuck on the fact that they lost to inmates because of the vicious and cruelty and the mental anguish that the rest of us have to, you know, the PTSD and everything else that guys like ourselves get in? Once you get in that shoe, you know what I mean? It was inhumane. That's why it was overturned. I don't think it, and I think it was just the collective of all the big four in the groups that, you know, were on that lawsuit, and it caught somebody's attention. You know what I mean? And then they investigated it, and they seen it's cruel and unusual punishment.
Well,
here's my opinion. Out to the wolves.
My opinion is if the CDC is able to get away with this and do this, which they're implementing already, and they are able to slam these people who are in high status, I think everything changes. Once these guys are back again,
the whole game changes.
I think these groups they pull away. I think they're like, fuck this, we're done. You know what I mean? That's when I think people start thinking, like we're talking about, like the Bulldogs. They start thinking about, man, maybe they had the right way of thinking back then. That's when I think groups are able to pull away now because they don't have them vatos right there in front of them. You know, right now they're being told this is how it's going to be. This is it. Directives are being shot out, and they're like, okay, it's whatever. You can't go against the grain or you get whacked, right? But I think once out of sight, out of mind, that's when you're gonna get some vatos that are strong minded. They're gonna be like, Charlie, bro, we're good. And it could happen. I'm not trying to poison the head or say, you know, promote that, but I'm saying that's, you know, even back then in my time when I was active, we were even thinking about that, like, God damn, man, these Bulldogs, bro, man, they were smart enough to do their thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's always been spoken on, but never been out there. But now people are starting to voice their opinions a little bit more. So we're gonna see how it all works out, man. But it's ugly. It's dangerous.
Anyway, and just the big disclaimer right here for all of us here. You know what I mean? And I think I speak collectively. We're not talking smack about active, non-active, the Bulldogs, the Nueva Floridas, the right. Hey, your plights are your plights. You know, I respect them all. This is just 3-minute opinion on what's happening right now. We're not leaning one way or the other. We're just trying to give the audience, you know, a broader perspective from our past experiences, contacts that we have and people, because the bottom line is, man, they're all raza. You know what I'm saying? Which we all stand for, and the betterment, regardless of what side that they're on, man, there's going to be some hurt. There's going to be some pain, and there's going to be some bodies that are going to drop. There's going to be a lot of holes that are going to be poked, and a lot of, you know,
a lot of families are going to suffer.
A lot, all the people on the outside. And like I said, just like I brought up, it's these lifers. So it's not just about who's going to take over and if one's going to be in existence. They got to think about their own personal existence and if they're ever going to go home now. And those that have been fighting for the last 30 or 40 years to get out, like we've seen a lot of these old lifers are getting out now after 30 or 40 years. Is that going to stop? Is CDC going to make it big enough when they're going to complain to the appellate courts here to overturn all that and implement the shoes again? Look what's happening. Or is somebody going to counter that again and say, no, you did this to try to get this back up because you're too lazy to do your job. It's going to be a whirlwind pyramid, man. And, we're just trying to give a perspective and the respect to all groups, all gente, because at the end of the day, they're human beings that made mistakes. They're paying for their crimes like we all did. That's why we went to prison. The politics are just something extra amongst the inmates that in California, I'm sorry to say, you just have to participate or don't. That's just the way that it is for your own existence. You know what I mean? But now I think you guys are right. And I do believe, and that's my opinion too. It's going to change everything. Loyalties, policies, politics. Maybe some of these collectives won't be around anymore. Maybe it's going to turn into, like you said, there'll be a separation. Who knows? But these are all the questions of when CDCR pulls this trigger and decided to do that. In the end, that's the point in this for me to the audience is they're the ones that pulled the trigger and went pop. This is their call. This is not on the groups or the politics of the yard. This is their decision to do all this. So therefore, they're responsible.
Let me say one little thing, Flacco, real quick. Mm-hmm. If I was in position, active in there right now, and I mean in position of high standings, I would tell everybody. I would get at the people that I need to get at, the other side, everybody, man. Let's come together just like we came together in the shoe, and let's put a filter out there, a collective filter saying, man, let's on all sides, S and Y, every side. It's not us against each other. This is what they're trying to do. Let's fucking show them it's us against the K9, and let's do some sit downs. Every yard, CDC, sit down.
Yeah, see,
yard, and it's show some type of solidarity because that's going to save lives. It's like, we're going to get you. We know you guys could possibly get us. There's time and places for everything. Right now, it's us against them.
Let's not buy into their bullshit. We know what they're trying to do. That's a smart move, man. I have to agree.
That's a smart move.
I got the same disclaimer as Toko. My opinion don't reflect anybody on this panel. Sometimes I say some stuff that I believe in. But I pretty much agree with everybody's statement. And Gunner, you just made a key point, man. That's a smart move right there, man, because that's what's happened in the past. We've been into what administration does. People have lost their lives based upon that, man.
Everyone sit down.
Like the hunger strike.
Exactly. Hunger strike worked. That was the first stepping stone to get it done.
Fucking changed a lot, man.
Yeah, if they say, you know what, we're sitting down on the yards or we're not all coming out, you know what I mean? Then that messes with their money. You mess with their money, they're like, whoa. There's nowhere to put all these people. You can't lock everyone. They could lock all these institutions down. Then you hunger strike them. Okay, bam. That's when people from the outside started getting involved.
Everybody.
Yeah, took everybody on the S and Y side, on the active side. You shoot a filter out like, look, this is what it is, man. You guys know if you come to our yards, we're fucking murdering you guys. If we come to your yards, you guys are going to get off on us. Let's dispel all that and put some solidarity together just for today. Tomorrow's a different day. To let the CDC know, man, that we're not going to conform to what they want us to do. Period.
And see,
that would save a lot of lives, and it would keep. And then eventually, CDC will have to fold. They would have. There's nowhere to put everyone.
And CDC is covered because this is legislation. You know what I'm saying? This is policy. This is Department of Operations manual that they've implemented. So therefore, whatever happens, they can say, well, hey, I was following policy. You know what I mean? But I agree with you guys wholeheartedly. Hey, we've been on for an hour, guys, almost an hour. So I'm going to wrap this up. Is there any final thoughts before I end this?
Just, man, again, I pray for the best for everybody, and we're going to see how it all plays out. Again, man, nothing I've said on this panel is a reflection of anyone else's views. They're simply my views. And you know, like I said, man, I hope everyone on all sides, man, is able to live another day. It's not gonna be good unless they make it good.
Toko?
Yeah, you know what I mean? The opinions and the feelings that I express here do not reflect the channel or anybody here on this panel. They're my personal views and how I see things, and just doing it on a respectable level and taking everybody into account, because that's who Toko is. You know what I mean? And I just hope I just really hope it all works out. I hope, you know, there's not too much damage. You know what I mean? And a lot of people don't have to suffer. You know what I mean? And like I said, I feel for everybody, regardless of what side that you're on, man. It's you know, it's already not fun being there, and you're dealing with all the stuff like that. But you know, I stop and think about the families, the wives, the kids, people getting ready to go home. You know what I mean? And the stress level's got to be at an all-time fucking high. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it's I just, you know, I just pray that it all works out somehow or another. You know what I mean? And policies are implemented, but policies are always meant to change or to be taken away too. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And this is definitely one that I'm sure that we're going to be hearing a lot more about, you know, in the weeks and the months to come, if things get really, really, really violent. You know.
Well, we'll be bringing
I agree with you, man, wholeheartedly. Both you guys, man. I pray for both sides, man. There's a lot of good dudes on the active side. There's a lot of good dudes on the inactive sides. There's a lot of trash on the active side. There's a lot of trash on the inactive sides. I like to judge people as far as human beings, man. And I just hope that there's some type of end game solution, man, because this stuff's been going on for too long, man. At the end of the day, man, like a lot of us have friends on both sides. You know what I mean? People we have relationships, people that we've done dirt with. And because of prison politics, man, it's separated us, man. So like you guys said, this is all just our personal opinions. Each man had an opinion here, man. It's not a reflection of each other. Appreciate you guys coming on, man. Convicts perspective, as always, we give our perspective. We out.